So I finally did it. I built my first gaming PC. I've always been a console gamer, but I figured it was time to see what PC gaming is all about. Today, I want to talk about my experience of building one, the parts I chose, and what it's been like gaming on it. Now, I'm not a PC person, so feel free to correct me or roast me in the comments. Okay, my first plan was to buy a pre-built PC, but my desk, the Secretlab Magnus Pro, doesn't have that much free space. A standard mid-tower would take up a big chunk of surface area, and I could put it on the floor or get that PC mount, but it'll collect dust faster or my leg will keep knocking it. Then I started looking into mini PCs, but these were either pricey, underpowered, or just not my style. So I did what any normal person would do and researched how to build one. I went on YouTube and found optimumtech, which inspired me to go with this build. I'll link his channel below. The case he used was the Form D T1, and I made that as my starting point. Alright, the Form D version was out of stock, so I went with NCASE. The owners had a dispute or something and went their separate ways, but both cases are very similar. These arrive flat packed, so you need to spend some time putting it together. The case is aluminium, and I went with black, of course, and it's a very premium case. There's some flexibility, so you can adjust the struts or add additional standoffs for more airflow. The whole case is ventilated, so mesh panels on the top, bottom, and sides. So after some intense research, I went on PC Part Picker to make sure everything was compatible. I read a mini ITX build is not recommended for first-time PC builders, but challenge accepted. Here's a full stack of parts in the original packaging. I'll talk about why I picked each part during the building process, but here's a quick rundown. The motherboard is the MSI MPG B650i Edge. CPU is the AMD Ryzen 7 7800X3D. GPU is the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5080 Founders Edition. 2TB Samsung 990 Pro for storage, and 64GB of G.Skill Flare X5 DDR5 RAM. CPU cooler is the Noctua NH-L9A AM5. Power supply is the Corsair SF850, and the fans are the RS120A RGB, also from Corsair. Now for the fun part. This is my first time putting a PC together, so I have no idea what to expect. With the T1, I need a pretty low profile motherboard. Luckily, the B650i Edge has everything I need. 2 RAM slots, SSD, lots of ports on the back, but I would have liked a Thunderbolt port and this back part to be black. I'll slot in the SSD first. I think 2TB should be enough for now, but I did learn there's another slot on the back. I don't even know if I need this cooling fan. For RAM, I have two 32GB DDR5 sticks from G.Skill. These are CL30 with 6,000 mega transfers per second. Unfortunately, I did pay a little bit extra for these. These sticks are low profile at just 33mm, and I didn't need to remove the matte black heat spreaders. This little lever and the CPU socket was pretty cool. Here's the 7800X3D, and I guess I just carefully place it in and do a wiggle test. Now I close it up, put the lever back, and pop goes the plastic part. I thought about getting the 9800X3D, but I'm only doing 4K gaming on this, so the small performance boost wasn't worth it for me. I have a max setup for any creative work. Next is the Noctua cooler. Again, it's low profile, but I wish the fan and heatsink were switched. I think it would have been better for cooling. Add some thermal paste, is that enough? And align the cooler on top. And the motherboard is now complete. The star of the show is the 5080 Founders Edition. It's a nice box. And look at this GPU, clean and minimal. I read there might be some bottlenecking with the CPU, but in 4K it's basically non-existent. Plus, I didn't want a GPU to cost as much as my chair. Eventually, I gave up recording and finished it off camera, but the 5080 is framed perfectly in this case. The power supply is on the other side, and after connecting and organizing these cables, it's a pretty tight fit. I might need to make some short custom cables. PC Part Picker says the CPU uses about 160 watts and the GPU is about 360, so I hope 850 watts is enough including any spikes. And I actually returned the Corsair fans and got these from Noctua instead. These were pricey and I lose the RGB lights, but I was gonna turn them off and I wanted quieter fans. Now let's take a moment and appreciate how compact this build is. It's kinda unreal that a gaming PC can fit in this 10-liter case. For size comparison, here it is next to some other items. If you plan on building your own PC, I'll leave all the parts I use in the description box below. Before installing Windows, I made a few changes in the BIOS. First, I went to Settings, PCIe Subsystem Settings, and changed the PCIe to Gen 4. GPU supports Gen 5, but the motherboard is only Gen 4. Good thing I watched Optimum's video, which saved me some troubleshooting. Next, I went to OC and enabled AXMP and manually set the DRAM speed to 6000. And finally, I went to Hardware Monitor and set any cooling to Smart Fan mode. I'll install Windows off camera. I haven't used Windows since Windows Vista, so there was a bit of a relearning curve. I moved the Start menu back to the left, then ran a script called debloater, which removes the bloatware, Copilot, widgets, and other things. It makes the whole OS feel a lot cleaner and faster. Some apps I installed are Steam, which is where most of my games are, AMD and Nvidia to update any drivers. Fan control is nice because it lets me set a custom curve without needing to go back to the BIOS. HW info is for monitoring things like temperature, power, and clock speed. Revo uninstaller handles any uninstalls, including registry leftovers. And my current web browser is Brave. Not sure if I'll stick with it or go back to Chrome. I was very lucky that the PC booted on the first try, but I did run into some, I guess, challenges. The setup guide from NCASE has these fans facing down, so I flipped the entire case and moved the power button to the right side. Hot air rises, so I'm not sure why they did that. But now everything on the bag is right side up except for the T1 sandwich text. Since we're back here, the PC is hardwired, but I didn't think I'd need these antennas. But it turns out that these have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth signals. The keyboard, mouse, or controller would randomly stop working. The two fans didn't spin at first, but that was an error on my part. I didn't connect them to the right pins. I ordered additional standoffs to create more airflow between the motherboard and GPU. Before, they were literally touching each other, and there was some trial and error to find the right length, but no big deal. And I thought the GPU would sag since it's hanging on this little ledge, but I was supposed to attach the Ryzen cable to the strut. One last thing, there are no USB ports on the front or top. Everything's on the back. Minor downside, but it keeps the case looking clean. And it actually works out because I can add my signed Polaroids by Jana on the front. I should make an updated gaming desk video, but I'll go over what I use real quick. So I already mentioned the desk, but the chair is a Herman Miller Embody gaming chair that's sitting on a Secret Lab floor mat. Then I have the original PS5 and the LG 32-inch OLED monitor that supports 4K to 40Hz or 1080p at 480Hz. Keyboard is my old MX Mechanical Mini for now, and I recently picked up this Gravistar M1 Pro mouse. Let's see, coaster, DualSense controller, figures, decorations, gaming PC, and the Pulse Elite headset is hanging on the side. Most of the games I play are those story-driven RPG games, and compared to the PS5, everything looks a lot better and smoother. The graphics, lighting, textures, shadows, and I also game on the PS5 Pro. All the games are set to the highest graphics, and the 5080 can handle it no problem. I didn't think the jump to PC would be noticeable, but I notice it. The first game I tried was Stellar Blade. And again, everything is maxed out. True 4K resolution, no AI enhancements, unlimited FPS. When I pull up the Nvidia overlay, I'm getting around 100 to 150 FPS. That's compared to the PS5 Pro's upscaled 4K at around 80 FPS. If I turn on DLSS, frame rates can jump from 250 to 300, something I'll never get on a console. I can see every strand of Eve's hair and every pore on her face. Next was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Square Enix actually put more detail in the PC version than the PS5 Pro. The game runs around 100 to 120 FPS with DLSS turned off, and when it's on, it goes up between 240 and 300. The game was updated for Sony's PSSR2, but it still runs at 60 FPS. Temperatures were about 80 degrees Celsius and about 50 when idle, so I'll need to keep an eye on that. And noise level is decent, but I am sitting right next to it. Another game I played was Wuthering Waves. Maybe I had something in the background, but this one didn't do too well. DLSS off, I was getting around 50 to 90 FPS, and DLSS on, I got around 250 to 300. I even ran 4 gacha games at once in 1080p just to stress test. Everything went up, fans, power, temperature, but each game still ran okay. Keyboard and mouse took some time getting used to, but luckily, the DualSense supports multi-device pairing. I also tried Valorant just to see the numbers. At 4K, I was getting like 700 FPS, and if I drop it to 1080p, I saw frame rates in the thousands. I even took advantage of the monitor's dual mode. I'm used to playing games at 60, so seeing these numbers is pretty crazy. Getting a gaming PC was something I wanted for a while. The build process was more enjoyable than I expected, and I'm very happy at how everything turned out. It's like the whole Android versus iOS thing. On PC, you can customize graphics, add some mods, and install any app you want. And consoles are mainly for ease of use, just buy the game and play. If you're a tech head and want to play beyond 4K 60, a gaming PC is worth it. When I want to relax, I'll do some couch gaming on the PS5 Pro, and focus gaming is done on the PC. But now I can use Steam Remote Play and stream any game on the Steam Deck. If you have any questions about my build or setup, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you'll be notified when I post new videos. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!